Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
To all our viewers around the world, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this new episode of Ask Huda. I'm your host, Fuad Muhammad. Today we are privileged to be joined by on the program our dear and respected scholar, Dr. Mohamed Salah. Assalamu alaikum, Doctor, and welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khairan, Fuad, and happy Ramadan to you, to your family, and to the viewers.
Thank you very much, Sheikh. Just a quick reminder of our telephone numbers, 002238555248 or 249, or you can write to us at ask, that's ASK, at Huda.tv. And just before we take our first question, we would like to remind the viewers that if you can lower the volume on your television sets before calling into the program, or turn it off completely just for asking the question, and inshallah you can turn it on back when you are hearing the answer. Jazakallah khair. Okay, brother Amadou from Gambia, he wants to know if someone arrives late to the Friday prayer and the Imam is already delivering the sermon, what should he do with regards to the 2 units of prayer before the khutbah? Should he pray it, or should he sit and listen to the khutbah?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadihi alladhina astafa, la siyama al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallama tasliman kathira. Thumma amma ba'd. The question is pertaining the 2 units, the 2 rak'ahs of the greeting of the masjid, not the sunnah before Jumu'ah. Because according to the right view, that there is no particular or ordained sunnah before Jumu'ah other than the voluntary nafil, where a person upon entering, you pray tahiyatul masjid, the 2 rak'ahs of the greeting of the masjid, then you can pray nafil as much as you can. But there is no specific or ordained or emphatic sunnah prior to Salatul Jumu'ah. There is only 2 or 4 before Dhuhr. If somebody entered the masjid while the Imam is giving the khutbah, he is permitted to pray 2 light rak'ahs of the greeting of the masjid, because it is a confirmed sunnah. Obviously this is not agreed upon it, but this is the opinion of the majority, and this is a sound opinion based on a hadith that is collected by Imam al-Bukhari. A man entered the masjid while the Prophet ﷺ was delivering the Friday sermon. So Nabi ﷺ asked him, have you prayed yet? He said no. He said, get up and offer 2 rak'ahs. So he got up and he prayed 2 rak'ahs. Then he sat down. In the next Friday, the same person entered and he sat down. So Nabi ﷺ asked him the same question, and he delivered the same answer. So he ordered him once again to get up and offer 2 rak'ahs, the greeting of the masjid. So if somebody hears this hadith, will say, then why there is a difference of opinions? It's very obvious that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam commanded this person to pray 2 rak'ahs, the greeting of the masjid. But because of the circumstances, some scholars concluded, well, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not order him to get up to pray for the cause of praying tahiyatul masjid. Rather, he ordered him because he was a very poor person. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to project him to the view of the audience, so that they can donate to him upon seeing his miserable condition, which is a very valid view. But that was answered by the vast majority, and those who say that no, he ordered him in order to get up to pray tahiyatul masjid, not because of any other reason, because he said that is true. Yes, when he got up and the companions saw that he was in need, they donated to him. So he collected 2 outfits. Next Friday when he came wearing one of them, and he donated the second one. So there was no reason for the Prophet ﷺ to order him to get up and pray 2 rak'ahs for other than to pray tahiyatul masjid, because it was already known that this man collected enough donations to the extent that he donated some of what he has. So the valid view, wallahu a'lam, that whenever you enter the masjid and it is a Friday khutbah, that you should pray tahiyatul masjid, and you should make it brief and quick. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, and the second question is that if a patient requires injection, he's not that sick that he cannot fast, but he fasts, but when he goes to the doctor, he's required to take an injection. Does this nullify the fast?
As long as it is not nutritions or vitamins or glucose or saline that has anything that would nourish him or will help him to endure fasting, then it is permissible and it does not nullify his fasting, whether it is intravenous or intramuscular, as long as it is mere medication. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, our first caller for today's show, Sister Ai from Egypt. Assalamu alaikum, sister. You're live on Ask Huda.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Hello?
Yes?
I have two questions.
Okay.
One question is, if you are fasting,
What is?
fasting in Ramadan, it's allowed to, while you are cooking, it's allowed to taste the food?
Can you repeat that question for me?
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
It's pertaining tasting the food if she's
Okay,
cooking.
okay. Second question?
It's allowed to taste, but don't swallow it.
Okay.
And the second question, it's allowed to brush the teeth with toothpaste.
Can you repeat that?
It's allowed to brush your teeth
Brush your teeth, okay.
with toothpaste.
Okay.
Okay.
Jazakallah khair, Sister Aya there from Egypt. Brother Muhammad from the UAE said his wife missed a lot of fasts due to pregnancies, but she's now sick and unable to make up for these fasts. He says, can she do this by feeding the poor? And if that is the case, how can we do this? Do we have to cook and share the food individually, or we can just give them the money to get the food?
Well, first of all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. يُطِيقُونَهُ is either they can fast with difficulty and it will hurt them, it will hurt their health, deteriorated, or they're very old that they cannot fast. If they fast, they will be burdened big time. Or a person who is chronically ill is not expected to recover. So in this condition, they do not owe any making up of the fast which they missed. Rather, it will be sufficient to offer the fidya. The fidya, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, طَعَامُ miskin, feeding one poor person per each day. How much and how shall we feed them? The Prophet ﷺ explained, and his companions as well. Anas ibn Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, when he grew old, because he lived for a long time and he cannot endure fasting anymore, he used to gather the masakin and offer them the food. Fixed food for the number of days, per each day, one miskin. The value or the amount is equivalent to half sa'. If you do not feed, then perhaps you can buy the grains. In addition to the grains is equivalent to half sa'. The sa' is 2.4 of kilogram of rice, of corn, of wheat, of raisin, the average of what people normally consume. And it is recommended to add to that some meat or chicken. That's something that would make it a meal. But the rice by itself, half sa', or the grains by themselves, half sa', would be sufficient. That if you do not feed and you give the poor people the dry food. As far as giving the poor people money instead, that's not valid. Because, and this is the opinion of the vast majority of the scholars, because the explicit meaning of the divine command in the ayah, إِطْعَامُ miskin, فَفِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ miskin. So it is the food, it is the feeding, it is not giving cash. Unless if you give to an organization or an orphanage which will take your cash, turn it into food and feed the poor and the needy. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, we have Brother Abdul Rahman from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I just want to know, is vomiting in Ramadan, is it an nullifier of fasting? If it happened intentionally or unintentionally? Intentionally, what I mean is like if someone had brushed the teeth or did an action that it makes him vomit, or it's just something happened upsets stomach to him or vomit.
Let me just correct something, Brother Abdul Rahman. Intentionally, you mean induced vomiting, and that happens only if somebody stuffs his finger in his esophagus in order to vomit or throw up. But
well, actually, I'm not. I meant
okay.
If an action happened, like I have brushed my teeth or not putting my finger.
That's called accidental vomiting, which was not induced. You did not really mean it. You were overcome with the vomit for a reason or another. Some people get seasick even if they ride a bus, or once they board a plane, or obviously if they sail. So if they tend to vomit unintentionally, then this vomiting does not nullify their fasting. The vomiting which nullifies fasting and voids it, the induced vomiting, when somebody does something intentionally in order to make him vomit or throw up. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Doctor. Brother Muhammad from the UAE as well said, last year I had 100 grams of gold and I paid 2.5% of its value for zakah. But he said during the last year I acquired and accumulated another 100 grams of gold, and now the total amount is 200 grams. How do I pay zakah on this?
You pay on the total amount, which is 200. Has it become 300? You pay on the 300 next year whenever the zakah is owed, because you pay on the total sum, not on the amount which you earned in the next year. Some people are under the impression that the zakah is due once per year on a particular money. So if I paid the zakah on any amount of money or wealth once, then it's not zakatable anymore. And this is totally false. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam sent Mu'adh ibn Jabal, may Allah be pleased with him, to Yemen, and he said, inform them that Allah has ordained a sadaqah to be taken from the rich, given to the poor, and never made any mention that it is once per lifetime or once a year upon a particular money. In addition to, whenever Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to send his employees, the custodians of zakat, to collect it and to distribute it, he never instructed them to ask people whether they have paid zakat on this money last year or not, because as long as you still possess it, then it is zakatable. There is another very interesting reference that is attributed to Umar ibn Khattab when he ordered the guardians of the orphans to invest in their wealth lest the zakah will devour it, which means that if the money is sitting somewhere, it's a subject of growth, but it's not invested, so it doesn't grow. Then it is not the poor's problem. But he has a right in this money as long as it can grow, whether it grows or not. So every year, the same rate of zakah is due on the entire amount. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, we have Sister Amatullah from Morocco. Assalamu alaikum, Sister, you're live on Ask Huda.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
To Sheikh Salah.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, Amatullah. How are you?
You know, Sheikh, I have a very interesting question. When I was a student, I didn't fast, and because I thought my family thought that I was ill, but I never visited a doctor, and they had this habit that I was ill because physically I was not healthy, but I didn't consult any doctor. When I had a job, I started regretting what I did because I didn't did it intentionally. Now really I feel so sorry, and I have been fasting since 2002, and they pray at night and they ask Allah to forgive me, but I don't know what I
Ameen.
do
Ameen.
to repent for this, because for me this is a sin. This is number one. Number two, question two. Can you hear me, Sheikh?
I hear you.
This is question one. Is it clear?
Very
Yes.
clear.
And for number two, I suffer from waswas qahri, and really here in Morocco we don't have doctors who are religiously knowledgeable, and they cannot consult them because if you live in Morocco, you know the truth, and I cannot consult any doctor here, especially that I don't have a mahram, and they live just with my brothers. And whenever I go to the toilet and they have ablution, I use soap even after urinating.
Amatullah,
And,
do you,
whenever
excuse
Pardon?
me, how do you know that you have an OCD?
Pardon?
How do you know that you have the OCD or obsessive compulsive disorder?
الوسواس قهري.
Yeah, how do you know?
Because whenever water touches me in the toilet,
So it's only pertaining the tahara, right?
yes, pertaining Sahara, I change my clothes too much. I wash myself too much, especially in the toilet. Whenever I touch something in the toilet, bathroom or the water tap, I change my clothes. Whenever there is water
Okay.
that touches me,
I got it.
go
I got it.
immediately and I change my clothes.
Okay, I got it.
Fearing
Okay.
that when I pray, I am not going to be clean, and even the windows. If somebody touches the windows, I cannot touch them. I use something to touch the window.
Okay.
Okay.
I feel that I am cured, but a little bit, because I ask Allah at night and they try to.
Okay, Sister Amatullah. Inshallah, we'll try to answer your question, inshallah.
Thank you so
Jazakallah
much. I
khair.
would be too grateful to you if you do that.
Shukran.
Barakallah fiki. Barakallah fiki. Sister Amatullah there. Brother Sadiq from Cyprus says he will be traveling to different European countries over the next 12 days, for 12 days. And he said he will approximately spend between 3 to 4 days in every country. He wants to know, he said he will keep his fast, but he wants to know how to shorten the prayers and when and how to shorten each prayer.
Since you said you're traveling for 2 to 3 days or even up to 4 days, you're allowed to shorten the prayer once you leave your city limit of your residency. Once you go to the airport and you leave your city limit, you can combine Dhuhr and Asr prayers at the time of either one of them. Meaning, you can pray Dhuhr and Asr at the time of Dhuhr prayer, 2 of them at the time of Dhuhr, then you do not owe any prayer until it is Maghrib or Isha. And you can postpone Dhuhr and pray it along with Asr at the time of Asr, which is extended all the way until sunset. With regards to Maghrib and Isha, you can combine both prayers at the time of either one of them, the earlier or the later, as we explained in the case of Dhuhr and Asr. Notice that the latest time for Isha is midnight, and midnight does not mean in Islamic day 12 a.m. Midnight is the middle or the half of the time between sunset and dawn. So it can be 11:30, it can be 11:20, it can be in some countries 10:30, and it can be 2 a.m. So estimate the time between sunset and dawn and divide it by 2. Then this result from sunset, you count how many hours, that is midnight, and you're not supposed to postpone Isha until midnight. The latest time for Isha is midnight. As far as shortening the prayer, all the prayers will be shortened except obviously for Fajr and Maghrib, which means the 4 rak'ahs prayers may be shortened into 2, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يحب أن تؤتى رخصه كما يحب أن تؤتى عزائمه. In the hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says Allah loves his concessions to be observed as much as his obligations to be fulfilled exactly. So it is recommended to pray qasr and give yourself an ease if you're traveling. Wallahu alam. As far as fasting, the scholars differed whichever one is better, to break your fast while traveling a travel distance, or to maintain fasting. And they said the conclusion and the summary is whichever is easier for you. So if you're traveling via plane and you think that it's a short journey or a long journey and you have no problem, normally you do not eat during this time in the plane, or you think you can afford it. We flew before 16 or 18 hours more or less, or in between planes and vehicles and so on, and I thought it was very affordable. So it varies from a person to another. If you think it's affordable and it does not hurt you, then it's better to fast, because anyway you're going to make up that day which you missed. And if you think you cannot afford it, or even without thinking that you cannot afford it, you like to break your fast, you're allowed, because you're traveling, regardless what is the mean of the journey. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. With regards to the time of breaking your fast, this is a very important thing. If you take off from Cyprus, for instance, and you go to the States, so perhaps there is 6 hours difference extra than the regular day which you fasted. You do not say, I normally fast for 14 or 15 hours in my country, so you estimate 15 hours and you break your fast. So it may be in the States or in Canada Asr time or an hour before Asr and say, well, I fulfilled my day, I fasted for 15 or 16 hours. No. ثم أتموا الصيام إلى الليل. You must observe fasting until you see sunset in whichever country you're traveling to. And the opposite is true. If you're traveling from one country to another, where the fasting time, total fasting time, will be shorter, even if it will be 10 hours shorter, as long as you break you start fasting at dawn at this locality, and you go to any other place and it is already sunset, then you're allowed to break your fast. Wallahu alam.
Okay, we have Brother Yasir from Libya. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda. Brother Yasir?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Wa alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam
wa
Yasir.
rahmatullah.
I just want to say first of all thanks to Huda TV for giving us such a informative programs, and
Alhamdulillah.
we always love to watch Huda TV, both me and my wife.
Alhamdulillah.
Here I'm just trying to, on my wife's behalf, I'm asking a few questions.
Okay.
First of all, one of his questions is it permissible to watch TV, television?
To watch TV? Okay, I think we lost.
Just watch TV. She's saying that it's not good.
Okay.
It's a,
During fasting or generally
she's saying that
speaking?
it's like haram to watch TV.
Okay. And your second question? Okay, I think we have some problem there with Brother Yasir. Brother Muhammad from Syria says, how can I make up for a mistake in my prayer due to forgetfulness? What should I do?
This is a very long subject. It requires several sessions in order to explain, because you may forget by minus, you may forget and pray extra, you may forget a fard or a sunnah. So it differs from a place to another based on whatever you've forgotten. But briefly, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam once prayed Dhuhr 2 rak'ahs. And when he made taslim, one of the companions said, Ya Rasulullah, aqaswarat as-salah. He said, why is that? He said, because you only prayed 2. This person was known as Dhul Yadayn. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam turned to his companions and said, is it true what Dhul Yadayn says, that I only pray 2? They said, yes, Ya Rasulullah. The Sahaba normally would not object, because they were still in the stages of abrogation. Legislation was still continuous, so there may be some changes in the prayer. So the Prophet ﷺ in this condition once prayed only 2 instead of 4, and in another prayer he prayed 5 instead of 4. In this condition, the Prophet ﷺ said, فَلْيَسْجُدْ سَجْدَتَيْنِ. Let him pray 2 sajdas. The scholars have different opinions whether the 2 sajdas should be before taslim or after taslim. If you're not specialized in fiqh, nor are you a seeker of knowledge, it will be sufficient for you to know the following. If you pray any prayer and you forget a rukn such as reciting Surah Al-Fatiha is a rukn, praying the entire rak'ah is a rukn, standing is a rukn, ruku' is a rukn, sujood is a rukn. Rukn means pillar, that the prayer will be invalid if any pillar was missed.
Okay.
So in this condition, if the person missed, for instance, one sajda, that means the entire rak'ah is invalid, especially if he missed it by 1 or 2 rak'ahs. But if he missed or forgot one sajda in one rak'ah, and he remembered it before he offers the same sajda in the next rak'ah, he can go back and make up this rak'ah, this entire rak'ah.
Okay.
So otherwise, the entire rak'ah will be invalid, doesn't count. Then he has to make up a whole rak'ah after he finishes the prayer before making taslim. Then by the end, he will sit to make 2 sujoods and sit down to make taslim without reciting tashahhud, according to the more right view. Whether before or after, it does not really matter for you as an ordinary person. You prayed an extra rak'ah and you were told that you prayed an extra rak'ah, or you remembered. In this condition, you sit down and you pray the 2 sajdas and you make taslim, and that's it. so that will make up for the extra rak'ah you prayed. What if you forgot a sunnah? If you forgot something such as reciting the surah after Surah Al-Fatiha, you're not required to pray sujood as-sahw, or the forgetful prostrations. If, for instance, you forgot the middle tashahhud, it depends. When do you remember that? If you were going up and you remembered, if you are an imam, you're reminded or you remember by yourself that you missed the middle tashahhud and you're going to the third rak'ah immediately, we have to ask you the question, where exactly did you remember? Were you close to standing, or you're still sitting and close to sitting down? What difference does it make? The difference is the following. Because standing up to offer a new rak'ah is a rukn, and the middle tashahhud is a sunnah. So it is not permissible to void a rukn or to skip a rukn in order to make up a sunnah that you missed. So in this condition, if you already stood up, then you don't have to sit down, and instead, by the end, you just pray the two sajdas, which are known as sajdatay sahw, and make taslim, and that would be sufficient.
Okay, Brother Muhammad from Syria. Assalamu alaikum, brother, you're live on Ask Huda.
Wa alaikum assalam. Hello?
Yes.
Alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Ask your question, please, Brother Muhammad.
I have a question about the people that to pay zakat, and how would you know if you're an eligible person to pay zakat? For instance, I'm a student and I don't know if I'm eligible. I don't work at all, so I don't know if I'm eligible to pay zakat or not.
Okay.
Okay, just
Thank
Brother
you.
Muhammad there from Syria. We also have Sister Hijara from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum, sister, you're live on Ask Huda.
Alaikum salam.
Please ask your question, Sister Hijara.
Hello?
Yes, you're on air.
Yeah. Oh, my question is something different.
Okay.
Because this has been bothering me for a long time. You see? I was a divorced woman. And somebody proposed to marry me, and my father accepted. And the man told my father that he's already divorced from his previous wife. But during our marriage, I discovered that he's not divorced yet. I want to make sabr, but sometimes it's bothering me. And sometimes it's so painful. So I just don't know what to do. Am I allowed to ask for divorce, or should I just stay with the marriage and make sabr?
Okay, sister, let me ask you a question. Can you spell your name, please?
Pardon?
Can you spell your name?
Okay, my
Yes.
my question?
No, your name.
Oh, my name is Hijara.
Hijara.
So is it
Yeah.
Hijara?
Yeah.
Okay, I highly recommend that you should indeed change your name, because Hijara in Arabic means rock or stones. And if I may recommend the name will be Sahla, which means easy and simple, or any other name you choose. But I highly recommend that you should change your name. It's not haram or anything, but since al-asma'u aw'iyatun li musammayatiha, names reflect on the nature of the person and on his or her life. And the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to change the names which may appear as hard or difficult or harsh to easy names. And we'll answer your question pertaining divorce, inshallah.
Okay. Okay, we have Brother Sayyid from India. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Sayyid.
Wa alaikum assalam. Yeah, my question regarding witr.
Okay.
Usually in India, most of all, throughout in our country, the witr they are praying. First 2 rakats they are praying, they sit down, then again they stood up for the third one, and they recite Quran, and Surah Fatiha. Again they break takbir rakat. They hold.
You know, brother, I am totally lost.
Okay, Brother Sayyid, what exactly they do when they finish the 2 rakah of salah? What do they do?
For the witr, they continuously they pray 3 rakats. So
Okay, let me make it easy for you, Muhammad. They pray witr exactly like Maghrib. Isn't this what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Thank you.
Like
Okay.
same like Maghrib they are praying.
I'll answer you,
Okay,
inshallah.
okay.
Thank you. I'll answer you.
Barakallah feek, doctor. Okay, we'll take a short break here on Ask Huda and we'll be back right after this. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
The Philosophy of Islamic Law, a program for restoring belief and trust within Muslims' mind and heart, and for re-establishing a true concept about Islamic rules for others.
Covering the manners in Islam that a Muslim is supposed to have in Islam.
There is a strong link between having good manners and piety. And then he said, I guarantee a dwelling in the highest rank of Jannah for the one who perfects his manner. That indeed, truthfulness leads to piety, to righteousness. And righteousness and piety leads to Jannah.
The Prophet ﷺ used to always maintain family ties.
Gentleness in Islam means to treat people with kindness and with tenderness.
Back to the Prophet. Join Sheikh Amar in the program Back to the Prophet, wherein he teaches us practical lessons from the Prophet's life and how this can help us to overcome our challenges in the present.
We talk about the life example of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, seeking guidance for ourselves. In the early days after the revelation of the Holy Quran, the Muslims were greatly persecuted, so much so that quite a few Muslims had to leave Arabia and migrate to Africa to live among Ahl Kitab, Christian people who followed the gospel of Christ.
Back to the Prophet in Ramadan on Huda TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's good to have you back. You're watching Ask Huda. Just a quick reminder of our telephone numbers 00202385555 248 or 249, or you can write to us at ask, that's ask@huda.tv. Brother Bashir from Tunis, he says, my wife accepted Islam. Her mother and father are still non-Muslims, and he wants to know if her father can be a mahram for her when she's traveling.
He is a mahram, but not a guardian. There is a difference. A guardian is the one who has the right to give in marriage and to look after. He has a decision. He's a decision maker. But a mahram, as long as he is her father or brother or uncle, this mahramiyya is permanent, so he can travel with her.
Okay, and the second question is, what is the best time to pray Salatul Istikhara?
Anytime, whenever you feel that you have to make a decision, which is a serious decision, traveling, marriage, business, giving, taking, you should pray Istikhara, except obviously during Awqatul Karaha. Awqatul Karaha, the 3 times which we discussed before, it is disliked to offer any voluntary prayer or a prayer that does not have a reason, such as the 3 times, after Salat al-Fajr and until past sunrise, 15 minutes past sunrise, and approximately 20 minutes before Dhuhr until Dhuhr time, and after Salat al-Asr until sunset.
Okay, Brother Salim from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, he wants to know if it's allowed to make 3 divorces in one sitting.
It does count, but this is a bid'ah. And the Prophet ﷺ disliked that, and he prohibited Abdullah ibn Umar from doing so, and others. Those who divorce 3 in one, by giving divorce in the 3 divorces in the same sitting, that's called talaqun bid'i. Talaq in Islam has an etiquette. One should divorce his wife if divorce is the last resort. In الطهر لم يجامعها فيه, that after the menstruation is over and he does not have any intimate relationship with her, he can divorce her if he wants to. So this way we make sure that she's not pregnant. And also divorce while she is in the menses or having the PMS is disliked. Why? Because she is going through some hormonal changes, some pressure, that one should consider that and postpone making the decision until she is in a good mood. Then, if he divorces her in a طهر لم يجامعها فيه, purity without having an intimate relationship, if he insists on divorcing her the second, then likewise, same condition. The third, likewise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spread divorce over several periods and appointed the iddah. He gave the husband the right to reverse that divorce and revoke it within the iddah period in order to maintain the marriage life. Sometimes what nowadays psychiatrists state, you need to take a vacation. You've been hanging around for some time and that's why there are a lot of problems. Take a vacation, go somewhere, stay away from people. Or he would separate them for a few weeks. So the iddah serves a purpose before modern science suggested that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered the woman to stay within the iddah in her husband's house. And the Prophet ﷺ recommended for her to adorn herself. Imagine, now he desires her, but she is his divorcee. So when he makes the decision, he makes it based on an intention that he wants her back to his marriage life. But divorcing the 3 in one, it falls as 3 according to al-Jumhur. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, it used to count as 1. But Umar ibn Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, said that people rushed. So he made it as a mean of punishment to the person who abuses the system. And he counted them as 3. If he says, you're divorced, you're divorced, you're divorced, in the same sitting, he counted that as 3 divorces. This is the opinion of Al-Jumhur. Ibn Taymiyyah, may Allah have mercy on him, and Ibn Al-Qayyim hold a different view. He says that counts as 1, and he was tried for some time for opposing the Jumhur in his view. And I believe that Ibn Taymiyyah's view is more right in this regard. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, Brother Ismail from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum. You're live on Ask Huda. Ask your question, please. Okay, that's a quick answer there from Brother Ismail. Sister Amman from Egypt, she wants to know the authenticity of the hadith which states that the Tawrat and the Zabur were revealed in Ramadan.
Which hadith states that the Torah and the Zabur were revealed in Ramadan? There are narrations in this regard, but I do not recall the exact quote and where it was mentioned exactly.
Okay, Sister I from Egypt, she wants to know if someone who is fasting in Ramadan, especially the woman in the kitchen, is she allowed to taste the food without swallowing it?
Yes, she is allowed as long as she makes sure that she spits it and she does not swallow whatever she tastes.
Okay, alright, we have a next caller from Egypt. Assalamu alaikum. You're on Ask Huda. Ask your questions, please. Sister Dawla.
Assalamu alaikum, Doctor.
Wa alaikum salam.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
I just want to say that
yes, you can say.
The program is very intuitive, and thank you so much. May Allah bless you in this holy month.
Barakallah feek. Jazakallahu khair, sister. You have a question?
Yes, I have a question. Okay, so when you have certain problems that can be overwhelming,
okay,
can you go seek the help of a mu'allim or a counselor or a sheikh?
Okay.
Yes, of course it is permissible and sometimes it is recommended. I believe from a personal experience having a sheikh or scholars whom you refer to is very, very important in the life of every one of us. Keeping in mind that we revere our shuyukh, we respect them, but we do not exaggerate in their respect. We do not treat them as different than human beings or have a special connection to God. That if we want to communicate with God, we have to go through them. They're human beings. They're more righteous than us. They happen to be more obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and have more knowledge than us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. وَالنَّبِيُّ صلى الله عليه وسلم said, إِنَّمَا دَوَاءُ الْعِيِّ السُّؤَالِ. So sometimes the counseling or seeking the advice of a wise person is very, very helpful. It changes the mind of a person from doing something bad into doing something very righteous and so on. So instead of contemplating some bad thoughts in mind, it is best to consult one whom you trust, his deen and amana.
Okay, next on the line we have Sister Ammar from Egypt. Assalamu alaikum, Sister, you're live on Ask Huda.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I have two questions. One is, both of them are related to questions today. The first one, about the Qasr Salah. I need to know if there's a time frame. Some people say you can shorten, even if you travel, if you reach your destination, then you can no longer combine, but you can still shorten. Can you please explain that? Then also,
sure.
I'm sorry?
Sure, inshallah we will.
Now, then the second one is about the Torah and the Zabur being revealed in Ramadan. It was the last Jummah that I attended here in Egypt, and the Imam said something about the Torah being revealed in Ramadan, the Zabur being revealed in Ramadan. I didn't understand what he meant.
Yes, as I said, there is a narration that stated that all the holy books were revealed in the month of Ramadan, not necessarily the same year, but according to their eras. But I don't just recall the exact quote and the authenticity of the reference. Hopefully, inshallah, in the next episode, I will fetch it out.
Okay, next we have Abdul Rauf from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum, brother, you're live on Ask Huda. Brother Abdul Rauf, are you with us? Okay, Sister Aya also wants to know, I think we answered this question before, but if you can just give us a quick answer of brushing the teeth using toothpaste in Ramadan.
It is permissible, but it is preferable not to use a toothpaste because it contains sugar and other things that a person may swallow by mistake. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, do not exaggerate in gargling or rinsing your mouth while fasting, similarly in cleaning your nose, lest you might swallow some water accidentally. So just as a mean of precaution, it is better to brush before suhoor, after suhoor and before fajr, and after sunset. And whenever I need to brush my teeth, I may brush it with either the miswak or the toothbrush without the toothpaste. But bottom line, it is permissible if you make sure that you spit it out and you do not swallow anything.
Okay, Sister Amatullah from Morocco. The first question she has was that when she was a student, I think we answered this already in the program, she didn't fast, and now she's not physically fit to fast. She wants to know how can she make up for these fasts and what's the best way to repent and so forth.
The general rule, if you cannot fast and you do not expect in the future that you will be able to fast, then we change from the qada, from making up, into the kafara. As we discussed in the beginning of the episode, feeding one miskin per each day. One meal, you can gather 30 masakin if it is 30 days or 29 days, more or less number, same number of masakin equal to the number of days which you missed, and feed them all at once, or feed the 5 by 5 according to your capacity, an average meal of what you normally guys eat.
Oh, okay, Abdul Rauf is back. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam. Sir, I need to know the Tarawih.
Okay, Brother Abdul Rauf, can you please turn off the volume on your television set, please?
Okay, sir.
Okay, go ahead. Ask your question, please.
Sir, please, I need to know the rakat of Tarawih. So I find here nearby my mosque, there is 120 rakat, they pray, and another mosque 8 rakat. So which I have to follow this too?
Okay. Jazakallah khair, Brother Abdul Rauf. Sister Amatullah mentioned about the OCD as well. It's something new for me as well. She says she consulted doctors and she seems not to be cured. She wants your advice on the subject.
As I understood that she did not consult doctors yet. I asked her and she said...
Yes, she's unable to consult. Yes, that's correct.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, there is a reference to having doubt with regards to tahara, purity particularly. Because this is something that Muslims must do on a regular basis, every day, 5 times a day at least. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in the sound hadith في البخاري أرأيتم لو أن نهرا بباب أحدكم يغتسل منه كل يوم 5 أيبقي ذلك من درنه شيء قالوا لا يبقي ذلك من درنه شيء قال مثل ذلك الصلوات الخمس يمحو الله بهن الخطايا. We pray 5 times a day, and that requires maintaining the purity or renewing the purification whenever it is necessary to offer the 5 daily prayers, in addition to the nawafil, in addition to the night prayer, and so on. So the believer particularly remains in a state of tahara most of his day, most of his or her life. And that's why this is where the shaitan focuses most to confuse him or her, to play on that, to the trigger, the tahara. You're not in a state of tahara, which means he cannot pray. And he would come to a person right in the middle of the salah and he says, you know what, I'm not sure whether I have wudu or not. And he would make a bowel movement, so he would think that he have passed wind. The Sahabi, Abbad ibn Tamim, said his uncle came to the Prophet ﷺ and asked him about that whenever I'm praying, somebody might find something in his stomach. So Nabi ﷺ said, لا ينفتل أو لا ينفلت. That means he should not leave the prayer, not unless حتى يسمع صوتا أو يجد ريحا. You should not leave the prayer simply because of thoughts or whispers or frustrations or imaginations. You have to have a solid proof that you really broke your wudu via passing wind or gas, or making sure that I did not really have wudu before I prayed. Other than that, any frustrations, any whispers that come to you in the prayer, cut them off. Like you're holding a sword, chop them off. Do not even think about it. So if a shaitan comes to me and say, well, I'm not sure if I have wudu or not. What is the last condition you were on? Well, I know that the last condition, I prayed dhuhr and I maintained my wudu, and now I'm praying asr. Do you remember a specific time or incident where you really used the bathroom or broke wind? No, I do not recall any of that. Then that means you maintain the original condition, which is at-tahara. That's why Imam al-Nawawi and others said this hadith is a very, very, very important hadith. It can eliminate vast majority of the cases and conditions of the OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, which may not be even obsessive compulsive disorder, because I differentiate between this medical disorder and the whispers of a shaitan in the condition of the salah and at-tahara. If it is only limited to at-tahara, then most likely these are whispers. Even though in the previous episode before I said, do not hesitate to visit a psychiatrist. You may be sick, and there is a cure for that. There is a medication for that. Many people have come to me, and sometimes it is just limited to the whispers of a shaitan. Remember, I quoted the hadith when somebody mentioned to the Prophet ﷺ that he feels like he passes wind. He said, ذَلِكَ شَيْطَانٌ يُقَالُ لَهُ خُنْزُبْ or خَنْزَبْ. It's a Satan whose main task is to make you feel he is in charge of the rear orifice, to make you only in the salah, make you feel like you pass wind. Well, you did not. So if you're not certain, do not ruin your prayer. Well, I did not because I prayed all the way. No, you did, because from the moment you said Allahu Akbar and he came to you in the first sajda and he said, you know, you just passed wind. You kept thinking about it. Shall I leave the prayer? Shall I stay in the prayer? Shall I maintain my prayer? Shall I leave until you finish the prayer? So basically you did not pray because you've been busy. There is no khushu'. And if tranquility is withdrawn from the salah, then the salah doesn't count. Khushu' is also a pillar in the salah. One must maintain this khushu' and should not think about anything external outside the salah. So I say, sister, I suggested once to one of the callers who called a couple of years back. And I consulted later on a psychiatrist in that, and he agreed. He said, nowadays everybody has a video camera or the camera on your phone. Record your wudu. Guess what? When you rerun the recording and you watch it, when you play it, you realize that you never missed washing a single part of your body. Those which you should wash during wudu. Well, I'm not sure whether I washed this part of my arm or not, or the water reached to my elbow or not. When you record that, you realize that it was all frustrations, and you performed wudu properly. And if you walk somewhere and it is wet, the floor is wet, or the window is wet, you don't know the source of this wetness. It could be water, it could be urine, it could be impurity. Since you do not know, do not ask. And you're still in a state of tahara. How easy is that? This is our deen. This is the condition of tahara. It is meant to make us pure, not to make our life miserable. Take it easy. When you go to perform wudu, the organs which should wash are very simple and easy, and the order is observed. You know, if you do that, my advice, if you follow that for 3-4 days, then you will be treated and cured immediately, because you will figure out it was not an OCD, rather it was wasa, not waswasun qahri. It's a big thing that you're diagnosing yourself with, and that's why I asked you whether you checked with a doctor or not. You said no. You just say these are the symptoms. This is not necessarily the symptoms of OCD. If you'd like to make sure and visit a psychiatrist who is a trustworthy person, I highly recommend that for people who have similar conditions. Please, we have to differentiate between the waswasa, which comes to all of us, to every one of us. There was a question earlier concerning what if somebody forgets how many rak'ahs he prayed. The Prophet ﷺ forgot approximately 4 times. And he is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, سَنُقْرِئُكَ فَلَا تَنْسَ. But I believe on Allah knows best that He made him forget in order to, number 1, confirm that he's a human being, like all human beings. Number 2, to teach us, in case we forget what we're supposed to do to make it up and to fix our mistakes. So, if any of us forget in his or her prayer, or in the tahara, if I know what I forgot, I have to fix it and I have to make it up. If I do not know, then my prayer is valid because I'm not responsible. رَبَّنَا لَا تُؤَخِذْنَا إِن نَسِينَا أَوْ أَخْطَأْنَا. I would love one day that I will host a religious psychiatrist, and we will discuss in detail these conditions, so in order to bring peace to the mind of some of the viewers who may have this problem. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all peace of mind. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.
Jazakallah khair, Doctor, and I hope to see that show very soon on Huda TV. Just to thank all the viewers who participated in today's program, and if you still have a question, you can write to us at that's ask@huda.tv, and don't forget you can support this program or any other program on our television by writing to us at support@huda.tv, and don't forget you can always visit our website www.huda.tv. Until next time, I leave you with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
If my love is attached to thee, then from sins I will be free. Each time my heart will beat, your name will resound with heat. Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest.